All right, perfect timing. So anyway, guys, if you want to help us out, all you gotta do is retweet this link right here. Bam. In terms of progress, I'm trying to remember what exactly happened at the end. We finished a chapter. We went through some tips, and we're just gonna continue. That's actually just it.
おはよう、ケイチ。あら、
One of the tips did imply that Satoko, I think, does have a living relative. So,
ゆうべは何時に寝たの？
did we read the courses? No, we didn't. Okay, just trying to get myself worked into this again. Sorry, what? I had the worst dreams, nightmares. Alright, setting ourselves up for the rest of this chapter, I guess. Okay, so he's starting to feel an obvious desperation to keep something the same, right? So he's with like others in understanding that this status quo that exists with this village does have a purpose at the very least, and it's out of concern for some of the victims actually. So in a way, each chapter is trying out something a little bit different in terms of approaching the mystery, right? What those nightmares of the previous chapters? I mean, he didn't say anything. He decided he had nightmares. If we knew exactly what it looked like, maybe we would know. But we already gained a lot of information from chapter 3 already, so you can start making better guesses on how chapter 2 panned out, right? But without chapter 3, you wouldn't have such an educated guess, in my opinion. And that's kind of like the importance of looking at every single story with more context as you go further into Higurashi, right? You maybe actually be able to solve chapter 2, for instance, without any other context, but there are still many ways you could write it, right? Truly, a curse could exist after all. Oh, okay. I'm actually really excited to see how this mentality transitions into chapter 4, because I really do feel like Keiichi's growth over these chapters does feel kind of evident. But it usually starts with like a misconception on something, and then it goes so far that there's no real like I don't know how to put it.
いってらっしゃい。車に気をつけるのよ。
気をつけるほど車もいないよ。南沢には。
So in the TV show, they well, it's kind of obvious. They don't really use a lot of inner thoughts. So getting all this extra context on how Keiichi thinks is something that you have to understand visually. And personally, I don't really think that's as obvious in the TV show. Like, for example, the kind of sympathetic message that you get at the end of chapter 2 isn't really as evident in how the TV show presents it. In fact, I would even argue it's not really there, right? That took a lot of context to get to how chapter 2 ended the way it did, and that with that idea, you know that it isn't all just like fun and scares, right? Okay, and this is the exact thing I was critiquing.
おう、おはようレナ。相変わらず早いな。おはよう。おはようございます。
あれれ、あの二人が遅刻なんて珍しいね。
Actually, I'm a little surprised by that, given that they're so young, but damn, alright, off to a good start. Well, maybe they're late one time? Hey Nagels, what's up, man?
おはようございます皆さん。委員長号令起立。遅刻ですよフルデさん。
Okay, yeah, that's definitely a missing piece.
北条さんはどうしましたか？
さとこはちょっと遅れるかもしれないのです。
熱でも出ちゃいましたか？
リカちゃんが遅刻でさとこが欠席なんて珍しいこともあるもんだよ。
そうだね。だけどさとこちゃんどうしたんだろう。風邪かな。
You could just ask Rika, right? They're supposed to live with each other, so what happened?
ケイちゃんは心配しすぎ。年頃の女の子にはね、どうしても体の都合で具合が悪くなっちゃう時があるの。
みーちゃん、それ男の子の前で言うことじゃないよ。
Also, I'm not really sure that's often a joke, but okay.
ようリカちゃん、遅刻して怒られてかわいそうかわいそうだな。今日は俺がなでなでしてあげよ
みー、
う。さとこはどうしたんだ？風邪か？
うん。
Hmm.
ほらほらほら、男の子には話せない事情ってのもあるんだから。
I mean, is it really just that?
ケイちゃんはお席へ戻って戻って。
We have a lot of like ominous thoughts in this particular chapter. Like, this is definitely not going to continue forever, right? Actually, bad things happening before the festival. I mean, you have that initial scene in chapter 1 here, but usually not really, right? Well, is that entirely true? Let me think. You're right. Needed more soy sauce.
どうしたのかな、ケイチくん。今日はなんだか朝から元気ないよ。
そんなに俺元気ないか？
うん、見てるレナまで元気がなくなるくらいに。レナに話せること？どんな悩みかわからないけど、聞いて力になれることなら聞くよ。
昨日まで何も変なことなんか起きなくて楽しかったんだ。穏やかで楽しくて、毎日が賑やかで、そんな毎日が繰り返されることに何の不安もなかった。
うん、そうだね。
Right? Like, actually talking about his thoughts and feelings is something that he wouldn't have done previously.
毎日楽しいよ。きっと今日も楽しくなる。
絶対にそうなるって自信が持てるか？
So there's like a very obvious kind of arc for his character development, even if maybe these chapters are not connected, right?
うん。
思えばここ最近不安だったんだ。毎日が楽しいからこそ、ある日ふっと電球が切れるみたいに突然。
Okay.
真っ暗になってしまうんじゃないかって。
うん、その気持ちちょっぴりレナもわかるよ。私たちはいいことばかりは続かないってずっと教えられてきたから。楽しいことの裏側を時々恐れるよね。それってちょっぴり悲しいことだけど、でもそのおかげで私たちは楽しい毎日がずっと続くように努力することを覚えたんだよ。
そうだな。
だからケイチくんが楽しい日々がいつまでも続かないかもしれないって思うのは決して悪いことじゃないと思うよ。例えば、明日突然火山が大爆発して私たちが全員死んじゃうとする。
That's a unique example, but go on.
おいおい、物騒な話だな。
例えばその大災害をケイチくんだけが生き残ったとしたらどう感じる？
A lot of premonitions, huh? Okay, people are gonna remember volcano, right? If you were the only one who survived the catastrophe, Keiichi, how would you feel?
どうって。
I mean, we're coming to expect an obvious pattern now, right? So having this chapter, now that you established two stories, to be reflective of that makes sense.
胸が張り裂けるだろうな。
So it's also placed in an obvious curve of his arc. He's growing, right? You have enough repetition to now imply future events. You also have an expectation now that things are going to go downwards. So
まず泣くと思う。
そしてこう思うんじゃないかな。こうなることが運命だったなら昨日までの日をもっともっと楽しく悔いなく過ごせばよかったって。
okay. So now she's talking as if it were fated. Like, this is just going to happen. That the end result of our lives is going to end in misery, which is a kind of sad thing to think about when you're a kid. I'm going to double check what you just said just to make sure. If this was my destiny, then I should have... Yeah. Okay.
思うだろうな。
楽しい毎日がいつか終わるものならそれがいつかなんて誰にもわからない。だったらたとえ明日そうなっても悔いがないように精一杯楽しく生きるのが 正解じゃないのかな。
そうだな。
それに気づくのはとても難しいこと。多くの人たちは日々の幸せに飽食してるよ。今日と同じ明日が訪れると信じきってるから、今日できることを明日に送る。
If I'm going to be perfectly honest, that's kind of how I treated the slice of life scenes up until this chapter. But furthermore, I'm thinking about how this applies to this kind of want for preserving. I want to find a different word than status quo. It's a little bit more sympathetic than that, I would say.
今日してやれる優しさを明日に送ってしまう。でも圭一君はそれに気づけた。それはとても素敵なことだと思う。だからその不安な気持ち大切にしてもいいと思うの。
And she's encouraging that kind of self-awareness that Keiichi seems to be growing.
この不安を大切に。
そう、明日には大災害でみんな死んじゃうかもしれない。だから今日みんなにいっぱい優しくしよう。本当に週末が訪れた時後悔しないために。
レナは実践してるのか？
Yeah, that's actually a really good observation, Killer.
明日みんなが死んじゃっても後悔しないようにさ。
It feels really weird to be calling you Killer during Higurashi, now that I think about it. Yeah, that's a strange observation you had there, Killer, as if you're involved. They call me frogs. Okay, sure.
レナは楽しい毎日がたった一日を境に終わってしまうことを知ってるから。今日が楽しくても明日も楽しい保証なんかないって知ってるから。生きてるよ、精一杯。
Man, my respect for you, Rena, has not that I didn't have high respect for you in the first place, but it has risen somehow.
ゆうべ聡子の夢を見た気がするんだ。どんな夢だったかは思い出せないけど、朝からずっと不安で。
聡子ちゃんの元気な顔を見れたら安心するつもりだった。
Yeah, so the thing is, she's so supportive, but I just wish we could do something about this standstill with Satoshi, right? Rena gets really angry about Satoshi, so does Shion. We can't bring it up really with Satoko because she thinks that he ran away. This is that. Yeah, this is like the situation that you mentioned, that we can't quite move forward because there's no addressing of this past, right? And we want to preserve like this momentary happiness that we cherish, but we know that it won't last forever. It's something that can't stand on its own.
かな。じゃあ聡子ちゃんが来たら優しくしてあげることだね。いつもの悪ふざけでも一向に構わない。楽しく過ごすことができるなら。
そうだな。
That also reminds me, in chapter 2, he was rather terrible at comforting others as well. So it's like, we're working on that element of Keiichi too. So eventually you can build Keiichi up into a protagonist that really can push the story, right? But it's even just more than that, right? It feels like this problem, every character seems to have an issue with their past that they're not really willing to share, right? And to just bring it up out of nowhere ignores the context for how they feel and also how difficult it is to kind of get past that. And so we have to build up this version of Keiichi, right? This one that is willing to try and understand there's actual nuance to keeping things a little bit quiet until it's ready to be talked about, I guess. And so I guess by building up this particular chapter's Keiichi, future chapters, if they need to kind of employ this more thoughtful Keiichi, will be believable, right? Because if he only had chapter 1 and chapter 2 Keiichi, which he does some nonsensical things for sure, it would be kind of difficult, I imagine, to make that jump.
さとこ、お昼までには来るはずだったの？
You know, I actually haven't heard of procrastination as a useful tool. Can you give me an example? Unless it's like, take your time before doing something so you can apply a more thoughtful approach to it, in which case, sure. Wow, that's a sin. Fried chicken is like the best part of the bento. How could you? You could have had... Let me think. Actually, she didn't take like a croquet or something, so I'm kind of okay with that, but damn still.
と、おじさんとしたことが。レナに先生を許すとはね。よっしゃ。おじさんはこのプチハンバーグをもらうよ。
Wait, what?
みえ、僕のおかずがなくなってしまうのです。
That sounds like a terrible lunch. I'm sorry. Would you like some of mine? Oh, okay, we're all just eating from each other's lunches. Got it.
冗談じゃねえ。最後の弁当が梅干しとご飯だけになってたまるか。それ、俺はミートボールをいただくぞ。
Man, you really feel it when Satoko's not there, huh?
笑う角に服着たるってことわざあったよな。
あるね。
Oh, sure, I can check it out.
それが事実なら、おじさんは四六時中笑い転げてるよ。
レナは本当だと思うな。毎日笑ってれば毎日が楽しいよ。レナがいいことを言いますです。
じゃあ試してみるか。
This expert piano playing. So very quickly, I'm gonna grab some more water and I'll be right back. I kind of want to just sit in this chair. I'm actually a little bit hungry too, so maybe I can eat food while reading this. Hopefully you guys won't mind. It'll be fast, I promise.
前原さん。
Okay, I am back.
楽しくお話し中。申し訳ないんですけど。
So I'm gonna try to balance commentating while eating dinner, but I think that's gonna be a little bit weird. So we'll see how this works, okay, guys?
ちょっとお力をお借りしたくて。
なんだよ一体。テストの対策法は以前教えただろ。
Why is that?
ちなみに千恵先生が授業中と含み笑いを教科書で隠した時が次のテスト範囲だ。
How do you even know this? And isn't it printed on the page? What?
そうなんですか？実はですね、ボールが2階の雨どいに引っかかっちゃったんですよ。前原さんなら身長高いからなんとかなるんじゃないかと思って。
ほう、先輩に物を頼むからには何か見返りがあるんだろうな。俺は高いぜ。簡単に買収できると思うなよ。
Side characters? Excuse me, sir? These are valuable allies. Actually, no. You know what? You're right. They're not allies. They're traitors. Don't help them out.
では前原さんには授業中に居眠りができる権利を与えましょう。
Did they have OG sprites? I'm pretty sure no. Yeah, they disappear.
それでどうです？
なんだそりゃ。授業中に寝るのは俺の勝手だろ。なんでお前らに権利をもらわなくちゃならんのだ。
そんなことないですよ。今度は前原さんが居眠りしたら全部先生に言いつけることにしますから。なるほど、うまいうまい。
こいつらとんでもない交渉の仕方を覚えやがって。
すみません。ちょっとした冗談っす。ほらほらゲイちゃん、おとなしく後輩たちの脅迫に屈したら
わかった。俺の降参だ。ボールを取ってやるから、居眠りの権利を俺にくれ。
まあ。
見ろミオン。俺はちゃんと権利をもらったぞ。でもお前はもらってないよな。富田君、岡村君、ミオンが居眠りしたらすぐにチクれ。
Alright. I like this man.
いいな。
He turned that around fast. You know, the thing is, I always trusted in them. They're such reliable characters, and they add so much to the story.
その棒を貸せ。俺なら多分届く。
It was a shame that didn't have sprites in the original, but Ryukishi learned his ways, man. He demanded sprites for these characters.
よいしょっと。
取れた。取れましたよ、前原さん。どうもありがとうございました。
どうもどうも、こんにちは。
Awesome. Hey, how you doing, man?
お昼休み中すみませんね。
I just think that Ryukishi has a... See? He's even hiding his hands just to be sure. God. He has such soul when it comes to drawing characters. Yeah, I'll go with that. Okay, is this Higurashi? It's a horror mystery visual novel. You know what really surprises me though? One of the things that shocks me is that we get new viewers for Higurashi. And I think to myself, how do people even come to our channel for Higurashi? Because it's such a small game, right? Are people actually browsing for this, or was it just shown on the front page or something? Because it's kind of difficult to get more viewers for a game that doesn't have like a popular category. You were browsing for it. Interesting. Okay. That's pretty rare though, isn't it, Niggles? Hang on. There was no basis for that reason, but I shuddered. I was somewhat confused about these emotions, not quite understanding them myself. There was one thing I could say though. Nobody but teachers and students should be at school. This person shouldn't have been here. So he... Interesting. Let that one go. Whatever you guys want to think. I felt less of a tremble and more of a sense of dread. Like a brilliantly colored poisonous caterpillar were crawling across my forehead. A feeling disgust that neither itchy nor gross could describe as a frizzly, dreadful hair rubbed against my brow. Okay. An unpleasant feeling for which I didn't even know the cause. What are you doing? What are you disgusted by? This is the first time you've met him. It's rude to hate someone for no reason. No answers were coming. There we go. I feel like I don't even need to say anything. You're getting this impression now that there actually is possibly some transfer. I guess is one way of putting it. Transfer of consciousness? What? Like there's some type of memory, right?
ああ、失礼しました。怪しいもんじゃないんですよ。ふんふん。私、沖宮警察署から参りました。大石と申します。あれ、手帳どこかな。
Yeah, I'm actually pretty interested in seeing what a new audience will feel about Higurashi.
と
Because we've known it for quite a while, right? It's kind of like, I'm curious how people are going to react to Bakarina. Because I've known Otome Isekai for a very long time, and I've been complaining, man, why hasn't a single one actually been... why hasn't a single one actually been adapted, right? Finally we get one.
あれ参ったな。ありゃ
You know, the thing is that I actually haven't really watched much of the Umaneko anime. Is it truly as bad as people say? Okay, all right. I'll trust in you guys. All right, almost done with dinner. Hang on.
職員室をお探しですか？ならあそこの昇降口から入って。
ああ、いえいえ。職員室にはそんなに用事はないんです。それよりお友達を呼んでもらいたいんですが、お願いできますかね。ふんふん。
お友達？誰です？
女の子です。北条聡子さんを呼んできてもらえませんか。
This is a really interesting description that he's doing. This anxiety as described by a caterpillar, now entering into his brain through an ear hole, is kind of disgusting.
警察が聡子に何の用ですか？
いえいえいえ。
Do you actually want me to answer that, Micaiah? Because there is a horror movie with that, yes.
大した用事じゃないんです。2、3聞きたいことがありまして、ご協力をいただければ嬉しいんですがね。
あんたに用はあっても聡子にはないと思います。帰ってくれませんか？
I mean, did he even explain why? Because if you started off with that and you were showing concern for Satoko, then I think he would have replied, okay. So no. Okay. I mean, what's a cop gonna do with a child? Gonna be like, yo, your friend Satoko, a 10-year-old, stole candy from a store. I'm here to arrest her and bring her to jail. Satoko, you know that person who sets traps inside your house and has fun? She actually killed a person by accident. I'm gonna arrest her and bring her to jail.
これは手厳しいな。あなた、さとこさんのマネージャーさんですかな？アポイントメントがないと面会は叶いませんか？
Actually, Keiichi. Sorry. I just called you Keiichi. Shit, sorry. Actually, Frogs, I want you to elaborate on that. Go ahead and talk a little bit in chat.
話がしたいだけなら電話ですればいいじゃないですか。日中学校にまで押しかけてくるなんて明らかに異常です。
Nobody likes Oishi. I guess so.
ありゃ。いちいち正論な方ですね。こういう言い方をする人は苦手なんだよな。
Okay, this is actually a completely different interpretation of Keiichi. Because you know that Oishi has played him before, man.
Ah, もしもし、君たち。
You could also ask someone else, exactly.
ちょっといいですかな。北条さと子さんを呼んできてほしいんですがね。いませんか、北条さと子さんは。
北条さんは今日はお休みですけど。
休み。そうですか。いやはやいやはや。これはついてないです。で、君たち。
Damn, this atmosphere is palpable.
ここにいるお兄さんはなんて名前か教えてくれますか？
Okay, all right. That's actually a good prediction. I like that. You're starting to read into more about Higurashi now because you have context, right? You have something to refer to.
ほう。前原圭一さんですか。
And that's one of the strongest elements about bringing previous works into your very own work, right? It doesn't actually have to be an outside work. Like Higurashi doesn't have to reference, I don't know, Crime and Punishment. But it can reference itself, right? And that's how you create more layered writing. It's a very common way of doing so. So suddenly, a line no longer has literal, okay, it can have literal meaning, obviously. But then there can be an implication of it, right? Calling backwards towards a scene that you saw in the past or aiming forward towards an ominous prediction.
あ なたひょっとして例の前原屋敷の御曹司？
What's actually our average rate of going through a chapter? Is it like roughly 16, 20 hours? Is that right?
お父さん、高名な芸術家さんなんですってね。年に2回ほど東京の大展覧会に出展されてるそうじゃないですか。どんな立派な絵を描かれるかは存じませんがね。お母さんも知的そうな方じゃないですか。
Okay, how do you know about my parents? Or are you threatening me? Which one is it? Hang on. Got it.
高学歴って聞きましたよ。どこぞの女子大を出られてるそうじゃないですか。
Okay, and how do you know this?
あの年の女性で女子大でなんてすごいですよ。ひょっとしてお母さん、両家のお嬢さんなんじゃないですか。なんて噂が立ってるせいか。冷たい人だなんて噂が立てられてるなんてご存知で。町内会の会合、最初の1回以外は出てないでしょう。そういうのっていけないんですよね。
Man, you are not helping Keiichi's distrust of you.
こういう土地ではご近所付き合いをないがしろになんかできませんよ。
That laugh does not help either. Neither does this music or these sound effects.
こういう土地ではね、敵は作らない方が絶対にいいですよ。さもないと。思わぬところで不利益を受けるかもしれません。
Dog, really?
因果応報という言葉もありますよ。風が吹けば桶屋が儲かるの正反対です。妙なところで買った恨みが信じられないところで帰ってくることがあるかもしれません。そうなったら嫌でしょう。誰だって恨みなんか買いたくないんです。敵を作らないに越したことなんかない。どうしました？肩がだいぶ凝ってますね。ちょっと揉んであげましょうか。ほら、気持ちいいでしょ。
It is really sudden. We don't really understand why he's looking for Satoko. And he also knows awkward amounts of information about Keiichi. That's very disturbing. Okay, so he very much is threatening us. At least according to Keiichi's perspective of it. And like everything in the game is doing its very best to make you feel that, right? That he's not being friendly here. And if that wasn't obvious enough, he's like crushing his shoulders.
Out
of curiosity, Manu, if you squeeze there, does it actually help you in the end? Because I know massaging doesn't necessarily always feel good, right? I think.
おや。これは入江先生じゃありませんか。ご無沙汰しておりますね。
挨拶はいいです。それよりも前原くんを話してあげてください。
先生のところにも後でお伺いしようと思っていたんですよ。
Yeah, but this is definitely the most antagonistic Oishi has been.
いつもお忙しいとかでろくろくお話ができませんからね。
I mean, before I can kind of just assume that he was trying to do his job, and I get that, right? But we just say no once, and suddenly his hands are clamping on our shoulders.
ええ。お望みとあれば、いくらでもお話を伺いますよ。でもその前に、令状をお持ちになってください。職務質問と任意同行は拒否できますからね。
Wow, Manu, that sounds like something a bully would do. Why are you recounting your history of hurting people, huh? I would never have done something like that. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
前原君、
But don't worry, Manu. We now have the power to fight back.
大丈夫ですか？
Pineapple pizza.
くそ。いってってってって。
大丈夫ですか前原君。ひどいことを。
くそ。いってってって。
ちょっと肩を揉んだだけじゃないですか。前原さんも少し大げさすぎですよ。男の子はもう少し我慢強くなくっちゃ。
肩は上がりますか？痛みますか？痛みが強いようならちゃんと診察をした方がいい。
Honestly, why is that man still here? Can you just leave, Oishi?
とにかく保健室へ。
大げさですね。私に限って傷が残るような真似をするわけがないじゃないですか。ねえ。私、これでも現職の警察官なんですよ。
さあ、どんなご用があったか存じませんが、もうご用がないならお帰りを。今日のことは今度所長さんに直接抗議しますから、そのつもりでいてください。
それは困りますね。
Okay, so he really doesn't care. But to be fair, in the last chapter, we saw how easily it was to influence certain people in the police department, right? So.
あいつは大石クランドという乱暴者でね。
Hooligan?
村中に嫌われている男です。前原さんも用心した方がいい。
Oh, so that's how he reads it. Okay, he joins in on the village on hating one person. Huh, okay.
「前原くんどうしたんですか？怪我でも？」
前原さん、さっき校庭で変なおじさんに。
いえ、ちょっと転んでひねったみたいです。大丈夫だとは思いますけど、念のためと思いましてね。保健室をちょっとお借りいたします。
入江先生、よろしくお願いしますぞ。
Really, that small of a school? So only just 2 staff members? No one else?
ちょっと患部を見せてもらえますか？まだ痛みます？
いえ、もう全然痛みません。本当に大丈夫です。
Actually, now that I think about it, did my school have a nurse office? Because I don't remember, right?
それだけあいつが慣れているということですよ。
Didn't leave a bruise, right? Hang on. Right.
今度会った時は挑発しないことです。あいつを怒らせて得をすることは何もありませんからね。
I remember near the end of high school, there was a place that you could nap legitimately in the school, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna use this more often.
自宅に制服警官を連れて押しかけてきたら、ご家族だっていい気持ちはしないでしょ。
それは確かに。
しかし、何があったんです？前原さんがあいつと喧嘩になるなんて。
あいつ、里子に用事があるとか言ってきて。
え？里子ちゃんにですか
？Somehow that gesture seemed to be saying he was bound to come to Satoko, and did, and that it was no laughing matter. Wait, that was just supposed to happen? Well, I mean, tell me more.
あの男はまだ里子ちゃんにつきまとうつもりなんでしょうか？
Okay, so what does that mean?
本当に蛇みたいにしつこい男です。
つきまとう？あの大石っていうやつ、たびたび里子のところへ来てるんですか？
Because I didn't realize this. Is it because she doesn't have parents? Then what about Rika? Is it because Satoko is not? Okay, you know what? Go on. I just want to know.
前原さんは、そうか、引っ越してきたばかりでしたね。
ええ、そうですけど。
お社様のたたりと里子ちゃんの話は少しは聞いたことがありますか？
Maybe not both together. Go on. Well, in some context, but go on.
里子の両親がダム計画の賛成派で、
Right.
転落事故で死んだのはたたりだって話ですか？
ご両親が亡くなった里子ちゃんとお兄さんの聡くんはおじ夫婦宅に身を寄せることになりました。
Okay.
あ、そうなんですか。
おじというのは里子ちゃんのお父さんの弟にあたる方なんですがね、残念なことに夫婦揃ってちょっと尊敬に値する方々ではありませんでした。
Okay, so they were a sus uncle and aunt.
里子ちゃんの両親がダムに賛成していたとばっちりで、おじ夫婦も村内ではとても肩身の狭い思いをしていましたからね。里子ちゃんたちを歓迎するはずもなかったんです。
As soon as her parents came out in support of the dam, their uncle and aunt took on a lot of the shame in the village. They took a lot of pressure. They never would have welcomed. Okay.
里子ちゃんたち兄弟にとってとても辛い生活だったと聞きを読んでいます。
Jeez, okay. Okay, so straight up abusive ass uncles and an uncle and aunt here. Okay.
今思い出してもゾッとします。今の元気なさとこちゃんしか知らないあなたには、土毛色の顔をしてただ日陰でぼーっとしているだけの彼女など想像もつかないでしょう。去年の綿流しのお祭りの夜にね、おばが死んでしまったんです。
Well, you could say that Oishi is rather suspicious of the village as a whole, right? So he might be, if he wants to help Satoko, if you assume that's his intention, then he might assume that the village is not the best place for her. I mean, after all, her parents died, and it could have been because of a curse. It could have been because of human intervention, I guess, with a curse, maybe.
異常者にバットか何かで殴り殺されて、綿流しの祭りの夜には村の旧敵がたたりで死ぬと噂されてましたからね。
Could have been purely an accident, who knows? But we have to just go through the story and find out more, right?
この死も単なる殺人事件としてだけでなく、お社様のたたりではないかと村中でささやかれました。
I don't think Oishi is superstitious, period, actually. I think he just legitimately believes that this village has a conspiracy going on and certain crimes are perpetrated by... He seems to generally believe it's, like, the Sonozakis. There could be that too, who knows?
おじだってひなみ沢の人間ですからね。お社様のたたりを大層怖がり、逃げ出して雲隠れしてしまったそうです。聞いた話では沖宮あたりの実婚の中の女性宅に転がり込んでるとか。
Okay, so he dodged. Got it.
それで解放されたんですか、聡子たちは。
おばは死に、おじは逃げ出し、誰も兄弟をいじめる者はいなくなるはずだったんですが、まるでその後を継ぐようにあの男が執拗に現れるようになったんです。
あの男？
大石です。
Okay.
大石、さっきの男。
Okay, so now he's rationalizing that strange sensation that he had and he couldn't explain, now with an actual reason.
あいつは少しおかしいんですよ。お社様のたたりをめぐる一連の事件はみんな解決しているのに、あいつだけがそれを認めていないんです。あいつが近づく人間には必ず何かよからぬことが起こると言われています。ひなみ沢ではね、大石のことをお社様の...
Wait, really? Thank you, Mion.
ケイちゃん、大石にやられたの？怪我を？
落ち着いてミオンさん、怪我はありませんよ。念のため尻尾しているだけです。
ケイチ君、本当に大丈夫かな？
I don't know. Honestly, Rena, I'm feeling a little more tired than I was expecting. A lot more than I was yesterday. In fact, I stayed up until like 4 in the morning yesterday, so maybe that's part of the reason.
かな？
Oh,
みん
God.
なに聞いたら首を締め上げられてたとか言ってて。
落ち着けよレナ、肩をすげえ痛く握られただけだ。ほら、あざだってないだろ。
たく、あんたら何やってんだよ。仲間だろ。 なんでぼーっとしてたんだよ。なんでケイちゃんを助けなかったんだよ。
Well, you don't need to blame anyone.
ごめんなさい。
Actually,
委員長。
you know what, Mion? You're right. It was their fault. Those kids couldn't do a single thing. They just watched as I was being harassed.
よせよミオン。富田君たちはその場にいなかったんだ。責めるのはよせ。
くしょう。大石のやつ。
Man, people really don't like him. Okay. Also, Mion fiercely fighting for Keiichi's as like one of them is a interesting feeling.
こらこらこら、保健室で騒がしくしてはいけません。委員長、みんなを連れて保健室から出なさい。
ほらみんな、もう行こう。ケイチ君は大丈夫だって。ほら、みーちゃんも。
さて、じゃあ私はこれで失礼します。もともと千恵先生に用事があってきたんです。
あ、用事があって学校に来たんですよね。俺なんかのためにどうもすみませんでした。
おかげで役得と言いますか、前原くんのきめ細やかなお肌も存分に堪能できましたよ。
Oh boy.
はふー。
Well, at least I know he has an other side to himself, right? He's can be very caring and thoughtful. But
では失礼します。
you never find me with this man and my hands not with gloves on.
大した怪我ではありませんが、患部を揉んだりするようなことはくれぐれも避けてください。もしも高熱が出たり腫れたりするようなことがあったらすぐに連絡してくださいね。そんなことはないと思いますが。
あ、そうだ監督。さっきみんなが来る直前何か言ってましたよね。
Well, I mean, the gloves is just being responsible. Yeah, I agree. During these...
大石のことをお社様のなんとかって。
Oishi is Oyoshiro? Get the hell out of here! What people think Oishi is to Oyashiro-sama. There we go. I read that without the to. Tell me more.
ああ、お社様の使いですよ。
I mean, if that were the case, wouldn't people be more respectful of him?
もちろん悪口ですがね。
Good!
お社様の使い？
前原さんはひなみ沢で毎年綿流しの夜に起こるひなみ沢村連続開始事件、通称お社様のたたりのことはご存知ですか？
Right?
連続開始？え？
You know what? I think we have our case solved, guys. Have you ever wondered why, so conveniently, all these police officers can't seem to solve the problem within every single chapter? Well, duh! It's because they caused the problem! I bet Angel Mort and the police are in on it together. It all makes sense if you think about it. Angel Mort plus police equals unstoppable curse. And if you think about it even more, where did Keiichi go with Oishi to have food, huh? Exactly. He went to Angel Mort. Right. Where do people go to have suspicious conversations about theories on Higurashi? Angel Mort. Think about it. It all makes sense.
「一体どこの誰が言い出したのかもわからない話ですが、いつの頃からか大石のことをお社様の使いと 呼ぶようになりました。
Yeah, this really is the first time I've heard of this. I'm not sure if this was in the TV show, but I don't recall this at all.
なぜですか？
あの男がその年のたたりの犠牲者を決めていると噂されているからです。亡くなったり消えたりする人たちの多くがあの男の執拗な訪問を受けているからです。
Okay, how convenient, I wonder. So this is gonna be interesting to you, Manu. But at some point, everyone started calling Oishi Oyashiro-sama servant. Why? Because he would talk to the people that happened to have disappeared during the festivals. And no one actually likes him. There's that too. It could be.
冗談じゃないです。
噂ですよ、前原さん。そういう噂があるという。
Okay, so in all honesty, I'm actually feeling way more exhausted than I thought I was going to feel tonight. So legitimately, I'm considering ending really early here, and then if I wake up, I'll continue again, but I'm super tired, and I don't know why.
さとこ、今日欠席したじゃないですか。
え、そうなんですか?
So I'm gonna try to push a little further and then see what happens, but we'll just move forward. And if I happen to wake up at night and I want to stream Higurashi, I will. So you guys can have some archive to watch, or you can join me for later. But no guarantees on that.
では失礼します。
Did I try making tea or coffee? I did make tea. I drank it all. Not really helping right now.
前原君も早くみんなのところに行って安心させてあげるといいでしょう。
そうですね。そうします。
Okay, oddly perfect timing. So come back in maybe 2-ish hours. If I'm awake, then I'll probably be streaming. And if I'm not awake at that time, well, I guess maybe just assume that the stream's not gonna happen again. I'm sorry, I'm just a lot more tired than I thought I'd be. I really didn't know what happened, but I'm really out of it right now. So we'll just see what ends up happening tonight. Anyway, take it easy, guys. I'm gonna get some rest, and if I see you in 2 hours, then that will happen. Yeah, we'll ping on Discord if we end up streaming again. Let me go ahead and host a channel for the time being, and then I'll bounce. Let Chibi know I said hi, I guess? I think this is Scott's friend, if I remember correctly.